What's up, everyone? Welcome to the show, and thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Aaron Hepler. You're listening to the In Camp podcast, where we talk all hunting, all fishing, and all the stories that keep us coming back season after season. This week, I'm joined by my PA rifle camp buddies, Rich Yoder, Justin Eberly, and Tanner Kurtz, and we're going to have a good season opener next weekend. We're pretty excited. Between the four of us, there are no buck tags. We're just going to be laying out a whole bunch of does, and it's going to be lots of fun. But on this one, we talk some stories. We talk some camp tradition. Wherever you are, I hope that you build some memories with your friends and family at deer camp and just have an awful good time. Good luck on this PA opener. This is In Camp Podcast.
I need some powder lightener and some 40 volume peroxide. She's like, okay, I can help you with that. So she's going down the aisle. I was like, oh, she's like, do you have any brand preference? I was like, no, this isn't for hair. She's like, I kind of figured. I said, I don't have any, so it's not for me.
Well,
I was like, I'm actually whitening a deer skull. She goes, I kind of assumed. You know, typically when men come here asking for those things in the fall, it's probably not for hair care. So,
I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
Bleaching the tips on the bald guys makes it smoother,
Yeah. Something like that.
We are in the studio on In Camp Podcast with my buddy Rich Yoder, Tanner Kurtz, and Justin Eberly, and this is our rifle camp crew for 2025. We're excited. Of the four of us, there are no buck tags.
No.
Isn't that fantastic? It's gonna be a doe slaying party.
It's gonna be exciting.
Tanner, you haven't been on the podcast yet. Why don't you tell people a little bit about you?
All right, cool. Tanner Kurtz, employed electrician. I work with Rich. 26 years old. Been archery hunting for over 10 years. Gun hunting for almost 15. So, a little bit about myself. I take pride in hunting early season, unlike you other two. You know who I'm talking to. Because pretty well in September, a lot of my spots get some pressure by mid-October or stuff. September's the time for us. Rich will agree with me.
Every camp has its own personalities. Who's the real game warden in camp? Because last year, Rich told me, Judd, it was you. But I don't know. I mean, it could be a big debate between Tanner. But now I just showed up to the scene, so I don't know.
I'm still good, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm still the warden.
I'm
still thinking he's the warden for sure.
All right, I'm the warden.
Judd, how long have you been rifle hunting your whole life too, and archery hunting?
Yeah, that's what I actually started out with. My dad hunted right up until I turned 12, and then he quit hunting that year. So I always hunted with my grandfather, and he just was always a rifle hunter. He had two little huts that he religiously hunted out of. Didn't go anywhere else, didn't do anything else. So that's what I grew up with. I didn't start. So I started, I think in 2000, I think would be right for when I actually started rifle hunting, deer hunting. Yeah. I didn't start archery hunting until 2010.
I think I archery hunted since I was 12 too. Rich, what about you? When did you start bow hunting?
So I always archery hunted. I mean, I archery hunted before I ever gun hunted, just because the way the season falls. But yeah, since the time I was 12, I mean, and not that I got out a lot when I was 12, because I grew up hunting with my grandfather, and he basically, I mean, he had a bow and he shot, and I guess for lack of better terms, he always had the intentions of going out, but he was just mostly too busy. So I was almost like an excuse for him to, we're going on Saturday because Richard wants to go. So we started out when I was 12. I think I shot my first deer when I was 14, but didn't get it. I actually shot a buck in the Poconos, a real tall spike buck. Shot was just high, and at the time, of course, I didn't know much about tracking, and I was with my uncle, and we actually tracked him, found blood, tracked him, and we ended up jumping up, and he went across Route 80, both sides of Route 80, mind you. So that was about the end of that. I still archery hunted years moving forward. But then when I was 17, when I was 18, I was 18 when I graduated high school. So when I was I'm sorry, I was 17 when I graduated high school. So when I was 18, that next fall was when I finally connected with a deer. And that year I shot a buck and 2 does with the bow.
Nice.
So, but
I've got actually a funny story for you guys. So grew up always rifle hunting. The only experience we ever had in October deer hunting was in the early muzzleloader season for does.
Yeah.
So my grandfather, like I said, he had those couple huts that we always hunted out of. He always had to go to the bathroom when you're in the woods hunting. So he actually built little like porta potties into the bottom of the huts.
Yeah.
So all the years hunting, I never saw a buck. Like it took me until I started bow hunting 10 years later to actually see and kill a buck, with the exception of one day. So we go out muzzleloader hunting. We're climbing up into this hut, and one of my cousins was along as well. And so we hear as my grandfather's climbing up into the hut, like a spraying sound, and it's coming from inside his jacket. And all of a sudden you get hit in the face with Lysol. So my cousin and I are looking at each other and we're like, what is like this? Does he have Lysol? So finally one of us is like, Paul, do you have Lysol? He's like, yeah, when I have to go to the bathroom, I want to spray the Lysol so these deer don't smell me. And so we're like, oh my goodness, we're done. Like we might as well forget about it. Just go home. So we're sitting there, it gets light out, and you still smell the Lysol coming out of his jacket. And wouldn't you know, the first buck I ever saw while I was hunting comes walking in to 20 yards and is standing there with his nose up in the air, just smelling. So that was my first buck experience in the woods, and it was all thanks to Lysol.
So you could have invented nose jammer.
Yeah, you just need that fresh scent Lysol spray. Brings them right in from miles away.
Oh man,
we still laugh about that. It's just so ridiculous that was the first buck I ever saw. While I was
hilarious.
Yep.
Tanner, what about you? You got a funny one you want to share right off the bat?
I guess I'll go along with that, going out with the grandfather thing. I mostly hunted with my dad's family growing up, but I did hunt with my mom's dad quite a bit once I was a teenager. He also was the one that taught me how to process deer. First opportunity at the October season, which as a youth, you can actually use a rifle Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
And first endeavor with my grandfather was he sat at the bottom of my tree. I was in his tree stand. And if I recall correctly, he was reading Hot Rod magazine in a chair. And lo and behold, some does come out at what I didn't know was way too far away. And I emptied the gun on him, and all he asked was, "Did you get the thing?" Literally up the tree. And the answer is no, I did not get any of those does that day.
It's kind of funny whenever you kind of bring it back to the mentor thing, like remembering back to those funny stories. I don't have a lot of hunting memories with my grandfathers at all. My one only fished, and the other one kind of got like he had real bad knees, so he couldn't hike a lot. But all he would talk about was hunting pheasants and stuff. But to stick in line with the mentor side of the story, I'll tell you this because you'll get a good laugh out of this, and just hearing all your guys' stories kind of makes me chuckle. But I was fishing with my grandfather, and this was right before, it was kind of like we were actually like scouting some areas for deer and stuff that he could go to easily. He's like, well, we'll go fishing. So it was like, late September or something. He said, we'll go fishing. So we were cat fishing after it rained, and he sat on the bank in his shorts, and like he was wearing like red cotton shorts, and they got wet. So he's sitting there and he's like, my pants are wet, so I'm just going to take them off and hang them in the tree. So he's sitting there butt naked on the shore of a pretty public lake, and just with his red shorts and his tidy whities hanging in this tree, right? And we're just sitting there catfishing, and he's just butt naked. And we caught a catfish, and he's like, well, we better wrap it up. Your Nana wants me home now. So we we get up and he puts his shorts back on. And as soon as he puts his shorts back on, this group of Girl Scouts walks into the parking lot. I'm like, man, another 5 minutes. But Rich, we have your uncle in camp with us, and that's kind of cool because you're going to get to relive some of those memories with him. And like, I remember last year we were sitting around the table telling all the funny stories during rifle camp of all the things you guys got to do and the different hunts. What's something you enjoy about remembering your mentors and then, kind of getting to do things with them still if you get to?
So I'll jump on this. So oddly enough, if I had to pick my grandfather and my uncle, I'm not taking anything away from them in any way, but like everything that I was taught that I know now, like I just shouldn't have been taught. I mean, the very first deer I ever shot, 14, and that was the first year that juniors could shoot does in rifle season.
Yeah.
Juniors only could shoot does the whole rifle season.
Mm-hmm.
And first thing in the morning, a herd of does come in. And when I say come in, I mean the hollow that I used to hunt. I mean, you could shoot 200 yards across it.
Mm-hmm.
It was just big open woods. So, I mean, still to this day, if I had to go back, I'm still going to accurately say like 160 to 180 was the shot. But does came in, I laid down my backpack, shoot one. I radio my uncle. He comes over, and it's opening morning. There's deer running everywhere. So he's sitting there, and I'm like, how do I gut this thing? And he just looks at me and he goes, cut it up the belly and take everything out that looks important. That was my instruction. Like, that's it. He was not missing the first couple hours of deer season. He did not care. He just sat there watching for bucks. So I took everything out that looked important. So the funny part is, which you guys got to see it last year when he shot his buck.
Yeah.
We literally get down there and we're like, what the hell are you doing? You didn't even take everything out. And he's like, well, I got out what I could. Like, so,
I remember that.
You know what I mean? So it's like looking back, I'm like, how did I even get from point A to point B?
I think you might have said that to him too. And he was like, I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
I don't know. Yeah. Oh yeah.
But, Judd, what about you, man?
Yeah, for me, it's really it's just the memories for me. Really, like I said, my whole connection was to my grandfather. He's been gone for over 10 years now. So, it's just those memories. And I'm fortunate to still hunt the same property that I grew up hunting with him. So it keeps me pretty closely connected in that regard, that like I can think back to all the moments that we had there. I was showing you the rack of the last buck that he killed. It was 2002. It was on that property. I've got to stand like 20 yards from the hut that he shot it out of. So, yeah, I mean, that's the main thing for me. Just thinking about those memories and still getting to kind of walk the same ground a lot too.
That's way cool. Tanner, how about you, dude?
So I was blessed. I actually got to hunt with both grandfathers. One is with us.
Oh, cool.
One is not. As far as the one on my dad's side, so he was the same guy, did goofy stuff every year, including his sandwich for the day, tinfoil, the loudest. And we always say, why use that? Why not a sandwich bag or something like that? Well, because if it starts to rain, I can use it for a scope cap. That was his answer. Every year. So on the back, there was a little funny. I got to be with him when he got his last deer, and that's a memory that sticks with me vividly. It was dumb luck. It was public land, and it wasn't far from the road, but I'll remember it the rest of my life. Now my other
cool.
Got to kind of pay it forward with him. We still hunt some of the same properties, and I got to put up one of those fancy huts for him as well. So that was kind of my way to remember him and enjoy that and kick back. And sometimes we still sit in it together, but usually time does not allow.
I last year, I typically sit with my dad. He sits on the ground where we hunt. And last year we were sitting together either on the last day or the traditional first Saturday of the season, because now PA opens on a Saturday. So, but we were sitting there and I turn around and I look, and maybe 500 yards, I see a real good buck coming without even putting the binoculars up. And I'm like, Dad, there's a big buck and it's coming straight for us. So we got to get up to this, we had to like run through a field like 100 yards and get up to this place where he could get a shot at this buck when it came across onto the land we were hunting. So he's like, okay. And he grabs his gun and we run up to this power line where he can like settle in and get a nice shot as soon as because if we hadn't gotten there, the buck would crest the hill and bust it, like see us right away. So we got to this spot, and as soon as we get to this spot where he could settle in, he drops his fly and starts taking a pee as this deer's like, I'm like, Dad, the deer's going to be here in like 30 seconds. Like, but
priorities, you had to go.
I'm like, whatever. But the deer ended up turning. He didn't get a shot at it anyway. But it's always like, these funny memories. At the time, I was like mildly frustrated. And I'm like, dude, like, you just kind of like look back on these things and, chuckle. And it's the same thing as last year. We got to drag out 3 deer on the first day together. And it's like, I remember us all being like, I am never dragging a deer this far again. I don't know.
I packed mine, just saying. I carried mine out.
You did. You
it's the whole deer, but
bungee corded the bottom of your stand. Oh man. So I guess we can get into some like real rifle talk here, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of stories intertwined. But Rich, what is your caliber of choice? And are you going to shoot iron sights this year, or are you going to shoot optics?
So I've got 3 tags, and I'm bringing a 270 this year. My goal is to shoot 2 does with the 270, and then yes, I'm bringing an old 35 Remington with open sights and probably 2 boxes of shells.
Nice.
We're gonna see what happens.
Is that was your grandfather's gun?
No, not this one. This is one that I acquired. He never had. I mean, like growing up, he was not a fan of like the traditional 30-30 for a kid. Like my first gun is my 30-06 Ruger M77. Like,
okay.
That was my first rifle.
Yeah.
We didn't have 30-30s. The closest thing to anything like that would have been, he had a couple 7600 Game Masters that even by the time that I started hunting, we didn't even use. It was all bolt guns. So at least I kind of inherited that trade-off.
Yeah.
I know most people start off with a 30-30 that I know can be a little frustrating or cumbersome. Yeah.
Ding, ding,
My
ding.
family was the lever gun mafia. 32 specials, 35 Remingtons, 30-30s. We got them all. Actually,
I have a 30.
All of them.
Yeah, I have a 30-30 Marlin. Do you know what those worst was about like the lever action is when you push the ammo into the slide chamber, you'd always like push the bullets back into the casing. It drove me nuts.
My first gun was a Winchester Model 94 30-30. The neighbor down the street had a sale. Gun still had tags on it. My dad bought it at the sale, and that was my first gun, and I missed so many deer. We figured out I needed glasses because I missed so many deer with that gun. And like the shots on my family property are like 50 yards. Like it's not that hard to kill them, even with the 30-30 with the cheap scope. Like I didn't need glasses bad, I guess. But I hated that gun so much. I don't have it anymore. I hated it so much. I missed so many deer with it. It's gone. So
I have mine still. Somebody's borrowing it, but I have mine still. I have that thumb tab on it, and that thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
That thing drives me nuts because you don't like I'll like end up putting Loctite on the Allen key screw to like hold that thing down, but it only lasts so long. So it's always like coming back, and then you got to like fiddle with it to get the lever open. Tanner, what about you? What are you bringing to camp?
I always like being the oddball. I'm bringing a 257 Roberts. Definitely not bringing anything open sight. Anything that I have in front of me, I like to be able to reach out and touch. As far as first deer rifle, 308 760 Game Master, Bradford County machine. So pretty close.
Nice.
But
nice.
stay home.
Yep.
For this.
What about? Did I? You didn't say what gun you're bringing.
I did not.
What are you
No,
bringing?
I
You're
was.
You're gonna cut them in half again.
Yeah.
I was going to bring Bergara 300 Win Mag with a suppressor, so I don't hurt my ears. I plan on doing a lot of shooting, but I think now hearing this conversation, I might probably still bring that. But I'm thinking I might bring my grandfather's Marlin 336 32 Winchester Special.
Nice.
I've been trying to kill a deer with that gun for years.
I'm actually pretty sure the last time you shot at a deer with that, you missed because we were in the trees 10 feet apart.
Correct. That's correct. I've been trying for years to kill. So I had a mission. I wanted to kill a deer with my dad's Marlin 336. Remember, we're the lever gun mafia in my family. So 336 35 Remington. I've accomplished that. I've killed a buck and does with that. So still trying with the old 32 special. So might have to go have some fun with that one day. But
yeah, man,
bring a couple options.
Yeah, for sure. And this is the year to do it because, like I said, none of us have really. I mean, there's going to be a couple buck tags in camp. What, 2 or 3, right? Something like that, Rich. You were talking
about? 3,
I think.
4.
Right? Yeah.
4.
Well, there'll be 4, but yeah, I mean, Butch is going to be hunting on the camp property.
Yeah.
So we'll have Cindy, Kevin, and Erica.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Butch is going to kill a giant too.
He is.
Oh yeah, you should see the ones that they're getting on camera there in the hollow. Oh, he's going to kill a big one.
Oh, they're big ones this year, huh?
There's a really big one.
The buck he killed last year was a great deer.
Yeah, there's one around there.
Do you ever remeasure it?
No, I never did remeasure. It's up at camp. We can do that when we're up there.
I got some sheds that I need to bring out too.
I was going to ask if you were bringing your skull up.
I can bring my skull up, yeah.
Because we haven't even looked at it since then.
Yeah, I can bring the skull up, and I can bring the sheds that I found this spring up. Get them marked up. We're shed hunting up there this year? Or are we going to Iowa? What are we doing?
Aaron, you didn't say what you're bringing. I don't think. What caliber are you bringing?
I'm gonna bring my 270, the Montfish. Nice. I don't know, man. I only have 2 guns. I have a 30-30 and a 270. So those are my two rifles, and mostly I don't use the 30-30 because I don't love carrying that thing. It weighs more than my 270 for some odd reason. It's probably the Tasco, the 9-power Tasco scope I have on it, But so as far as your so last year was something that I got to do new. I got to walk around, which was kind of cool because hunting. Mostly, I grew up hunting a private farm for rifle season, and I never did the hey, let's go check out this area way over here or whatever, because there's other people. Everybody's got their spots, and you can't go walking around the woods messing everything up. But last year we got to hunt in the snow. Traditionally, what's something that you guys really, how do you really prefer to hunt in rifle? Was last year what your preference is, and do you do that when there's not snow on the ground?
I can't sit still, so I walk a lot.
Did you also get the snack wrap preferences from Tanner's grandfather?
No. I learned to take my sandwiches in bread loaf bags, the whole plastic bag. My grandparents, they always saved the empty bread loaf. They always saved them so that we didn't have Ziploc bags. We had the whole bread loaf bag. Just wrap your stuff in it and go. So yeah, I might bring that back again this year just for nostalgia. No, I plan on walking. I like to walk. Probably sit for the first little bit.
Yeah.
And the last little bit of every day. But this is all new to me too, the last couple of years since I actually started going up to camp with Rich, and then we bought this place. So I grew up with a suburban small property hunting. So same thing. You didn't move. You just sat there. So I don't have the patience now to sit for too long. So especially in rifle season, I like to walk a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's a different animal than bow season for sure.
Yeah.
Tanner, what about you, man?
So I also grew up hunting some small, some large parcel, mostly private. So you did your sitting, especially open day. Since going up to camp, it does give a little bit of freedom. The only thing I will say different, if we know an area is going to get pressure, I'll hang tight a little longer than what most would to the other guys do the work for me, because rifle season, especially PA, is pretty crazy. So that's my take.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Rich?
Yeah. Opening day, I like to sit first thing in the morning. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't have a buck tag this year again, but I like to sit for the first little while of opening morning, and it's just kind of nice to, I don't know. I feel like you got to do the traditional thing, hike out, get there before dark, get set up, listen to all the bangs going off, see where the first shot's going to go off, and see how many minutes before shooting time that it actually goes off.
Took the words out of my mouth.
It was pretty early last year, if I remember right.
I mean, sometimes you're like, was that a malfunction?
Yeah, it was like 15 minutes.
Yeah. But no, I like to sit for the first little bit, and then after that, like, my patience is shot as well. Besides, again, first thing in the morning and the end of the day. And if I don't have a buck tag, especially if I've got some meat in the freezer already that I'm not trying to work terribly hard for, I'm going to walk around and explore. And I mean, just like last year, we set cameras out and let them sit for the rest of the year, all kinds of, fun stuff versus just kind of sitting there.
Yeah. What about pressure? How are you guys working off of pressure? I did a short episode today for next week for Thursday. Nobody's going to listen to it because it's obviously coming out on Thanksgiving. But my preference for pressure would be to get behind it, but I'm finding like, on public now, you're not always getting behind the pressure because people are way more apt to go further than they did before because of, mapping apps, or people are a little bit better in shape than they were in the past or whatever, or realize they're really not going in that far. So how are you working off the pressure to make the pressure work for you? Tanner, why don't you start this one? Because you had mentioned about maybe sitting a little bit longer and that kind of thing.
It really all depends on, for sure, like private ground versus public. I guess I can hit that avenue. Private ground, because a lot of them guys are sitting most of the day. It's pretty much a waiting game. Public people tend to, get up and start moseying an hour and a half after daylight. So kind of have to roll with the punches on that. I don't have a specific answer because my experience, it's varied. It's tough to answer that one. I'll kick it over to one of the other guys.
Yeah. Rich, you next, man.
So in big woods, so I like two things. One, if I know there's not going to be pressure, like where we used to hunt, and it's not that there wasn't, but we were able to hunt on the edge of private that we accessed through the private and then hunted public. So it was like 3/4 of a mile in, but for somebody to get there on the public side, it was a lot longer. So there, I wanted to be able to see as far as I could to make a shot, where I feel like now the way the pressure is, I actually want to be like tighter to cover, not so much that I necessarily care about where the people are going to be, but I mean, like, look at last year. I mean, we literally shot deer walking in and saw nobody.
Yeah.
We got past the cover, still saw nobody, shot deer again.
Yeah.
And that was the scoop for the whole weekend. And especially not having a buck tag, like where we're hunting back there, I feel like, I mean, we talked to guys that were part of that one drive that we saw go through on the other mountainside.
Yeah.
They're not shooting does back there because they don't want to get does out of there.
No.
So, for us, I mean, we're just going to pack them out. But, if I want to shoot does, a distance thing is kind of important to me. But then, if a guy wants to shoot a buck, I think you want to be right in the middle of some nasty stuff where, up there, I don't foresee too many drives going through those clear cuts and whatnot where we're at.
No.
But everybody working around it is going to push the deer into the thick stuff. So if you're patient and you can get in a tree, you'll probably shoot a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. What about you, Judd?
Yeah, kind of piggybacking off what Rich just said. My plan was, if I had a buck tag for camp this year, I actually was looking at buying a climbing tree stand again, because it's a lot of just straight pole trees that you just get high up and you can shoot over the beach brush into the next patch. So my intention was to get a climber and just go way up in a tree in the middle of something real thick and be able to shoot a long way, potentially across, like maybe on the edge of something thick that I can also see into the cut, and just be able to see a lot of ground to shoot. Because part of that too was just having a bunch of cameras out and kind of knowing where a bunch of bucks have been frequenting up there. So, kind of tagging along to that, I guess. But,
yeah.
So now it's just going to be, I'm just going to ride my e-bike past our buddy Dustin when he's in and shoot one before he gets there.
It's supposed to, it's going to snow, right? The day before we go, I think.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even look.
I didn't look, but I mean, the way the weather's been, I wouldn't be surprised, and that would be phenomenal.
And as far as that snowstorm, you mean to tell me you're actually going to believe it this far in advance? They can't get it right the day before.
No, that could be hopeful though. You know, they can't get it right the day before.
Yeah.
Have you guys hunted an opener of rifle season in the snow like that?
Yeah.
I mean, you've been hunting up there a while.
So it's actually funny you guys say that. My first experience was last weekend in New York with Rich. Otherwise, no, I have never hunted a snowy opening day ever.
Yeah, me neither, man. And last year was the first time I ever got to do that, so that was a blast. So we got to hope for snow, so Tanner can get to experience the PA snow.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
So, you know, we're talking about all the traditions and the stories and stuff. For us, it was all like the rifle camp that I had, it was always like, you know, mom's made soup. We'd come back to the house and there'd be like 20 people show up and we'd all have, a lunch or whatever. To, fast forward, last year was my first year up in like a traditional PA rifle camp. And it was a blast, man. Like we did the dinner thing every night. We packed deer out together. We walked around and it was, a ton of fun. The one thing that I thought was pretty hilarious and cool was we watched Escanaba in the moonlight, and that's a pretty well-known camp tradition at the KT Lodge. And we also watched some pretty funny videos that Erica took of Tanner watching Escanaba in the moonlight.
Oh, yeah.
So, Rich, you were telling me before we got on that we're gonna start a little new tradition this year. You want to talk about that?
Which one is it?
The game we're gonna be playing.
Oh yeah, we're getting Big Buck Hunter up at camp.
I'm pretty stoked.
Yeah, we're gonna have the hunt shoot off the night before opening day. Maybe that's how we'll draw good spots in the future if we have buck tags.
There we go.
I mean, yeah, it's not a bad idea. I really should. I wish I could have come up for that week of archery. I should have brought the dog up after I killed that buck, but I was pretty hopeful on killing some more deer here, getting tags.
Yeah, I was pretty miserable. You probably didn't want to be there near me.
So I don't know how many friends I've had on the watch list this year. I know you were one of them. but
yes.
Tanner, you killed early, man. You killed in the first week, right, of bow season?
Well, like week and a half in. Yep.
Week and a half. Yeah. So you were pretty well off the watch list, dude. My buddy that I hunt with the most up here, Jared, I texted him. I don't know. He's had like 35 or 36 sits or something crazy. And he's seen like 2 legal bucks. And he was like, the one day he was out in the morning and I'm like, he's like, oh, you seen anything? Nope. And I'm like, what's your plan for the afternoon? He's like, oh, I'm about to unhook my tether and jump. He was out yesterday and a buck showed up on camera 20 minutes after he left. Oh man.
Yeah.
Rich, in the PA Northwoods, you're the one who's hunted up there the longest. How do you think the pressure or just the popularity is different than it was when you started hunting? Because I thought it was pretty cool last year. We were driving around, people have deer in trucks and deer hanging on the tree and people are pulling in to say hey and that kind of thing. But you told me that it's not nearly like what it used to be.
Yeah, it's definitely not. I mean, there's a lot more archery hunters. You know, like nobody archery hunted up there when I was a kid.
Right.
I mean, the locals did, but people from camps didn't go to camp to archery hunt. That just wasn't the way it was. That's up and down. And the reason I say that is because I feel like, yeah, there's almost less guys in the rifle woods, but there's more guys in the rifle woods where I want to be.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that comes from, the education, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot more content out there on, you know, exactly what we're doing, hunting the mountains, the ability to pack deer out. It's not just plant your ass on the side of a mountain and hope something runs by you anymore. People are way more educated than what they were. And that shows by the people that we run into while we're at certain spots. If you're like, well, on X, this looks like a really good point or something. I can't tell you how many times you walk out there and there's another guy standing there, which is good for people to be educated and, they're getting the hang of it. But the only thing that I'll definitely say that is 100% true is opening day is like that. Second day is a little less. And last year when we went on the third day, I mean, it's like a ghost town.
Yeah.
And I feel like the guys that are hunting opening weekend, it's not like it used to be. I mean, when I was a kid, I didn't go to school for a week. We go to camp from Thursday to Thursday. We would leave Thursday night after Thanksgiving dinner, and we'd small game hunt over the weekend. Nothing on Sunday, of course. And then, rifle opener started, and we'd hunt right through Thursday night. We'd come home again. So those traditions don't seem to be there like they were. But again, when I was a kid, also, you didn't have muzzleloader bear, you didn't have muzzleloader doe. So at the end of the day, there's just a lot more seasons that make a hunter have a lot more time to spread out versus, you had your 2 weeks and 3 week doe season. And that's what, 90% of the guys were doing back then.
Yeah. Tanner, what about you? Have you noticed a lot of difference up there?
As far as up there goes, I honestly haven't been going up any longer than just that. So I don't really have too much input on that. As far as down home, though, Burke's County, there is many as ever out there with a rifle. There's a 5 so there's 5 guys on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that here for sure. What about you, Judd?
Yeah, I mean, down around home, there's definitely still the same pressure. It's actually interesting to me, the number, so where I spend a lot of time hunting is a lot of small properties, and it does seem like there's definitely more archery hunters in the woods. So I think, if anything, there's more people tagging out on deer and archery, so they're not rifle hunting as much. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably equal pressure, and I just don't have enough experience in the mountains long term to really talk to that. But
yeah, I'm excited to just keep building it though, man.
Yes.
What about like underrated gear? I think the one thing that I'm going to be carrying this year is that safari sling that you guys both had last year, that the gun, like you can sit it on the front. That thing is awesome. I can't wait to use that. What are a couple other pieces of gear that you think are underrated that are great for rifle season that people can pick up in the next week?
I think number one is the tinfoil sandwich wraps, probably.
100%. Get yourself a whole roll of Reynolds.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. So last year if I'm stand hunting in gun season, I will have a scope cover.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna hang your rifle, you need to. I don't have it on front to back on the scope, a neoprene cover, but I just slip it over the top. That way, I'm not a scope cap fan. I don't like anything that's going to inhibit a shot, and most of the time, guys close their scope caps to keep crap out of the optic. And then you got to open them to shoot. So it just doesn't make any sense. But I carry a scope coat, and then I'll just cover the top of the optic. But don't get me wrong, tinfoil would do the same thing.
What about you, Tanner?
I don't know. Underrated gear, probably Mountain House meals and a jet boil. I mean, that always.
A lot of rifle guys aren't carrying that for sure.
No. You need those though when you ride your e-bike in.
You do. When I went elk hunting in Colorado, I didn't know that like a regular butane lighter didn't work at above like 5,000 feet. So I'm there like trying to light my jet boil with my lighter, and it didn't work. So I found a match, tried to light the jet boil. It still didn't work because I had butane fuel for the jet boil. That's one of those things that you just don't think about sometimes,
I actually just ran into, I had to use my old manual igniter because I had a peak meal at the truck, and somehow my lighter wasn't in my go bag, so I had to go to the old first aid kit and pull the igniter out so I could have my peak meal. And then luckily I had a plastic fork in the truck because you kind of need a spork or something in your pack to be able to do it. So
What about rifle season's worst drag or pack out?
I got one.
Go for it.
Hit it.
So this is a Butch story. Not that that's surprising. So I don't have a buck tag.
He's not even going to get to listen to this.
I know, right? I'll send it to him over the pond. He'll listen to it. So I didn't have a buck tag, so I'm sitting with him opening day. That go in opening day. I'm just sitting there. We couldn't even have doe tags because the season didn't open the first week at that point yet.
Yeah.
So it's maybe like 8:00, and I hear something, and I look up on the ridge, and there's this buck coming at us. So I'm like, hey, buck coming. So he gets ready, and it's probably only like 65 yards from us, and it's kind of coming towards us. So I just said to him, I said, shoot it when you can. I literally said, shoot it when you can. And the gun goes off within moments after me saying, shoot it when you can, which was just me saying, like, your next opportunity, go ahead and shoot it. He literally took that as shoot it now. That's what he says he heard me say. It's not what I said. So he shoots it. The deer hunches, runs up the ridge. So it runs up, which isn't good. And I'm like, where'd you shoot it? And he goes, I shot it in the shoulder. Or he says, I shot it quartering, through behind the ribs up into the shoulder. And I'm like, it was facing us. And he's like, no, it wasn't. It was facing up the hill. I'm like, it was facing at us. It was quartering too. And he's like, no, it wasn't. So we give it a couple minutes, and I'm like, all right, let's go see if you got blood. So we walk up there. So now we're having a discussion of where it was. And I'm like, listen, it was standing right up here. He's like, no, it was over here. And I'm like, whatever. I'm like, I'm just telling you, it was standing right up here. So I literally walk up to where it was standing, which is like 40 yards from me. I look up, there's the deer standing on top of the ridge looking at me. I don't have a gun. And I'm just trying to get his attention. I can't yell because there's the deer. So he only tolerated that not for long. And he literally hobbled over the ridge. So not the direction that we needed to go.
Yeah.
So we find blood. I just said, all right. So I had my jet boil with. I didn't have any peak refuels or Mountain House, but I had ramen noodles. So we had ramen noodle breakfast. So we go tracking this thing. And we were already 3/4 of a mile back. That was a spot we used to hunt. Up over the ridge and then down the next side. So it was probably like 250 yards from the top of the ridge that it died down the mountain. So it's just him and I, of course, and my uncle's 60, probably 1 or 2 years old at this point.
Yeah.
So it's him and I literally dragging this sucker up over the top, then the 3/4 of a mile out. And that was easily, I can't think of a worse drag. The only drag that actually might have sucked close, but not as bad, was that doe 2 years ago that you and I put the stick through the hocks and got out of there. Justin, you and I.
Oh, yeah.
That actually sucked a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't have much elevation on that one.
Tanner, what about you?
Ooh, I've had my fair share. Big parcel private. None of them had 4-wheeler access or anything. There were definitely some long. As far as like steepest, nastiest, my wife's first buck, it definitely ran down, I'd say, a 60-foot bank, and we couldn't take it out the end. Like, we had to take it back up the bank. That was pretty bad. And my PA bear, which was just under 500 pounds, that was.
Yeah. I'm sure that was a gnarly one. How far did you have to drag that?
The bear?
Yeah.
That was only like 300 yards from the road, so I'll take it. Not too bad, but it weighed enough. It was still tough.
Yeah. What about you, Judd?
I don't have a lot of great, terrible drag stories. Last year,
Just
my
last
buddy,
year.
yeah, my buddy Pete, yeah, that was probably the worst one, which was really a pack out for me. But my buddy Pete and I hunted Northeast Kentucky last year in rifle, and I was fortunate to be part of it, but not really be part of it. So he shot this deer that ran over the ridge, down over the backside, and it was nasty on this hillside. It was hard to walk on. It was so steep. And so fortunately I was hunting far enough away that by the time I got there, he had already done the hardest part of that. And I just had to walk next to him and carry his gun down the hill as he was dragging his own deer. So he likes to give me a hard time about just waiting around the corner till he did the hard part. I would say probably one of the worst ones was actually my bear this year. We didn't drag it, and unfortunately, there's 4 of us, and we carried it out, put it on a spit, and carried it out between the 4 of us, and that was about a mile.
Oh, that's pretty rough. Over one shoulder.
Yeah, so we realized after a while that we didn't have a lot of elevation after the first maybe 200 or 300 yards of downhill, and then it was just basically flat. But we get to about a quarter mile from the truck, and then someone had the genius idea that if we cut the log in half, then we could just turn it and we could have it across our backs. And it was a whole lot better. We were kind of wishing we had done that for the
Was
whole
that Talon's idea?
I don't remember whose idea that was, but
Leave it
we also
the
had
engineer.
frame packs, so they kind of rested right in the frame pack at your neck. So it was
nice.
Little load shelf there, but
that's pretty cool.
It's probably one of the worst ones.
The worst one I ever had was just a faux pas, and I didn't end up having to pack the deer out. But the very first deer I killed with our very first buck I killed with my bow, I was 3 miles back, and I got one of those, like, I actually posted a picture of this. I got one of these meat packing vests, and people can go and see it on the Instagram.
It's a great photo.
Yeah, it's a great photo. I actually sent it to Tony Peterson because I shared that story with him, the year that I shot that thing. And I sent him that picture after I told him the story. And he's like, at first I thought this was a Halloween costume and you were a pumpkin. but we got this meat packing vest, and my buddy was like, all right. We had like the Alps Outdoors frames, and he's like, I'm going to carry the tree stands and the gear, and you carry the deer. And I'm like, all right. So we put all this meat in these like 2 pockets in this thing, right? And we made it 100 yards and in a 3 mile. So he's like, we're gonna have to come back because I can't carry this. And I'm like, I'm glad you said something because I'm not making it. So we piled the deer up, put some coats over top of it so nothing would bug it, and hiked the gear all the way back to the truck. And we didn't ride bikes or anything. And when we got back, there was a game commission officer pulled into the parking lot. And this was, I already wrote about it, so I'll tell you his name. It was Jason Masunis. And he was like, oh, check your guy's license, whatever, good experience. And he was like, so you guys seeing a lot of deer back here? Like, what's the word? And I'm like, well, I just shot a 10-pointer. And he was like, well, where is it? Now he told me that I got to check it, And I'm like, well, we got to go get it. He's like, oh, I'll drive you back. So he ended up driving me back and picking the deer up, which I was pretty thankful for because I don't know how I would have done, even in an Alps Outdoor pack, hauling that deer out 3 miles. But it's all these stories, man, that keep us coming back to the rifle season. Do you guys remember your first rifle buck pretty vividly?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Sure do.
Somebody go ahead, Tanner.
First rifle buck, my first buck ever. By the way, my phone is almost dead, so I may lose you guys. My apologies on that.
That's all right. We're going to wrap it up soon anyway. I think his phone died.
He's gone. It's frozen till the end of time.
Oh, that's funny. Go ahead, Judd. You're up.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first one, my first rifle buck was on my family property. Actually, the smallest deer I've ever killed. Smallest buck I've ever killed. I was frustrating year, and finally with a rifle. It's actually I missed several bucks with rifles before I actually killed one. But finally, this deer came in and shot him, and it's always an adventure with me. So we tracked it a pretty long way, but we did eventually catch up to it after almost a mile of tracking. We jumped him twice because we were just trying to go after him, and ended up backing out. Got him the next morning, and yeah, that the rest is history. But it was quite an experience.
How big was it?
It was a really small 8-pointer.
It's bigger than my first buck. It's a little 4-pointer. What about you, Rich?
My first one would have been actually the first year that I ever shot a deer in the mountains. I told you the story about gutting a deer. So I shot a doe that morning. I had a bonus tag. I shot a doe that afternoon walking back in. And then the next morning walking in, we literally were almost where our hollow, where we like to hunt. And we heard a shot just over the top of the ridge. And, I grew up with the notion of like, if you hear shots close by, just get ready because you don't know what's going to happen. So literally heard shots close by, and this buck runs right down into the hollow with us, and he stops in front of me. And I shot once, didn't touch him, reload, shot again, and smoked him. He ran like 40 yards and piled up.
Nice.
And that was a 6-pointer. He was like 15, 16 inches wide, which like, back then, of course, it was like,
that's a good one.
Yeah. How wide is he?
Yeah, that's a good one.
But yeah, I was thrilled. That was my first buck, and yeah, I was tickled.
It's all, like I said, man, it's all about the stories, and that's something that I'm really excited to keep building up at camp, because it's we made a bunch of good memories last year, and it's going to be fun this year. I can't wait. It's
going to be
good. We've got a really fun group this year, so there'll be lots of stories, I'm sure.
Yeah. Sebastian made it pretty entertaining last year too, and he shot his first deer, so that was fun. Oh man. So in closing, what are you guys most excited for about rifle camp this year? Food. Yeah, this is gonna be some good stuff. We got a lot of food to eat, so
yeah, I think I'm going to be kind of excited across the board for almost everything. I mean, I'm excited to get there Friday. I'm excited to have everybody get their gear ready on the new benches downstairs. That excites me.
Yeah.
Food, the fire, Escanaba in the moonlight. I'm excited to sling some lead on Saturday.
Yeah. Whitetail
adrenaline for days on end.
Do you have the new one? I can bring it if nobody has it. I'll bring it. I have it.
All right.
Though maybe it's not the new one. Whatever one you put out last year, I have that one.
That'd be the one.
We might have that one then.
Right? It's the one that we were watching with the Exodus guys.
Oh, that was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. I didn't
know.
We
have that one.
Yeah, I have that one.
I'll bring some old ones. I've got 6, I think.
Cool. Well, guys, thanks for coming on. This has been fun. I can't wait till next weekend. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Aaron.
Well, that's a wrap in camp. Thanks again for listening. I hope you have a knockout PA opener. Shoot straight, find a big one, find a little one, whatever it is, but have a good time. Be sure to leave a rating and review for the show wherever you listen. It really helps. It also helps if you click the follow button and follow along with the show if you're listening. It really helps it reach more ears, and I so much appreciate it. You can follow the show at incamp_podcast, and you can email me at incamppodcast@gmail.com if you have any type of suggestions or topics you'd like. And we are almost out of deer season. So we're going to obviously talk about some off-season things here and there. We're going to talk about deer. It's always intertwined. It's our favorite in PA. We all know. But there are going to be quite a few topics, and there are some real cool guests coming up. So I hope you enjoy them, and I will continue to find a versatile group of people for you to enjoy. So this is In Camp Podcast. I'm Aaron Hepler. Thanks again for listening week after week. Good luck.